In this video, we are going to look at one of the most traditional and classic knives I think there is in existence. There are certain knives that their shape, or their pattern, or their color, or the material of the handle screams that it's a classic knife or that it's traditional. And this knife, in my opinion, checks all those bars. This is a knife that you can go back and look at knives in the 1940s. 1930s. You can go back even farther than that, and you'll find knives that look exactly like this one. Same pattern, same shape, same color, same maker. And this is a knife that we're about to look at that if you're just wanting to get into collecting a traditional knife, or you're just wanting a good traditional knife to carry, this is a very good candidate. The knife that we are going to be looking at is the classic case Slimline Trapper. The Slimline Trapper has been used and loved for many years. It's around 4 inches long, roughly, around 4 inches long, and it weighs about 1.75 ounces. So it's not too long in your pocket, and it's not too heavy in your pocket. The other thing is that it's really thin in your pocket. It's a single-bladed knife. There are some older ones out there that are double-bladed, but this one here is a single-bladed, and that's the only way you can buy them as of 2025, if you're buying one brand new. This one has the classic yellow Delrin handles on it, as they've put on knives for years. And this one has a carbon steel blade. You can see it stamped 2022. It has a good, strong snap on it. Now you can see I've got a lot of patina on that blade. I've used this knife. I take care of it, but I use it. That's what these knives are meant for. There you can see the stamping USA 31048. The 3 means it's got a yellow handle. The 1 that it has one blade, and 048 is this handle right here, this Slimline Trapper handle. It's a handsome knife. It also feels really good in the hand. It's so sleek. There's no rough or sharp corners on the knife. The whole knife is completely sleek. And you can see it's big enough to get a good grip on it. And it feels really good in your hand when you're holding it and using it. There's a reason why Case has sold so many of these over the years, and the reason why people have bought them so commonly over the years. Now, from what I can tell, there are 2 popular versions of the Slimline Trapper. There is this yellow one that we are looking at. And the other one, the next most popular, would be this one in brown Delrin. This one right here is a 1998. It's a beautiful knife. You can see it's a 61048. 6 being that it's got these brown jigged handles. Other than that, the number's the same. But there is a difference in these two. They have the same number, and the knives are very similar, but they are not identical. The first thing that we will notice is that if you look at the back of the knife on this yellow one, you can see that it's pretty straight. The blade comes straight in to the handle. It comes straight out of there. Now, if you look at it on the brown ones, it's going to cant down. And I find that so interesting. Can you see that cant? The handle comes out straight, and then the blade angles down this way, where it's not like that. On the yellow-handled Slimline Trappers, you can see the difference there. It's a very interesting difference. You might like one better than the other. Neither one's really better than the other. It's just a matter of preference. But it is really interesting. The other thing you'll notice is that the blades themselves are a little different. For instance, on the brown-handled one in stainless steel, you can see there is a swedge up at the top, right above the nail neck. See if I can get that to focus. This little piece right here where that it's sanded down. You can see the light glimmering off of it. That's called a swedge. And the stainless steel version has that swedge, and it's going to have it on both sides. You can see it right there. Now, the yellow Delrin version will not have that. See, it has no swedge. It's just a nice square, flat back and a flat front. It has no swedge. And so they're very interesting. The handles are also a little different too. I believe the brown Delrin handle is a little wider and a little thicker. Just interesting observation. sometimes cases different models as it goes between the different kind of steels, like carbon steel and stainless. Sometimes there'll be major differences between the two blades or the handles. It's pretty cool. But this one to me is much more sleek, and I probably like the yellow just a little bit better, although I like both of them. It's just so sleek and narrow right in this area. That's why it's called a Slimline Trapper, and it just feels really good in the hand. This is known also as a bear head, and that's because it doesn't have a bolster on this end of the knife. It has one on this end, but not on the left side. To compare it to a regular trapper, it is called a Slimline Trapper after all. This is a regular trapper. And you can see right here that the regular trapper has a bolster on each end. This one not having a bolster on the back end of the knife makes it a bear head. Now they make some of these with bone that do have a bolster on the back of the knife, but the yellow Delrin does not. You can see that it's about the same length as the full-size trapper. It's just very slightly shorter. It's closer to 4 inches than 4 1/8 inches. The other thing you'll notice is the blade is also shorter. It's not as long and it's not as wide as the classic Delrin trapper. There you can see that the blade on the regular trapper is considerably bigger. And then you got to keep in mind, this one being a single blade is a whole lot thinner. And so it basically is a slimline version of the regular case trapper. The regular trapper, of course, will also have a spade blade. Another knife to show size comparison might be the classic Sodbuster Jr. A lot of people like the Sodbuster and know its size. Lining up the edges themselves. You can see there the Sodbuster has a much smaller handle, but a lot chubbier handle, if you would. And the blade has a totally different shape and is not quite as long. Another knife to compare, a common EDC knife, would be the classic 18 pattern Stockman from Case. Again, the Slimline Trapper has a much longer blade and a much longer handle, but it has a much thinner body because it's single blade instead of 3 blades like the 18 pattern. And then just to throw 2 more knives in there to compare it with, throw in another single blade. This is a Case mini copper lock. And on top of that, we'll throw in a Case Peanut. I always liked Peanut, one of my favorite knives from Case. See if I can stop the magnetism. This yellow Peanut has always had a great deal of magnetism. Sometimes you can take another knife and twirl it around on the table. See if I can do it here on the camera. There we go. You can see there, that's pretty odd, isn't it? But that little Peanut there has always had a great deal of magnetism. Isn't that odd? Anyways, I like that little Peanut a lot. I've had that little Peanut a long time. It's one of my favorite knives of all time. But there he goes, still in the show. This is supposed to be about the Slimline Trapper. It's not supposed to be about the little Peanut. He's for another day and another video. But for the comparison, the Slimline Trapper has a larger blade and a slimmer handle than the copper lock, whereas the mini copper lock is also going to have a lock back design on it. And so the Slimline Trapper is a really good, useful knife. It's one of the best EDC knives if you're looking for a slim knife. And they used to buy these. If you go on eBay or look at a flea market, a lot of times if you find an older case knife, it's going to be one of these. It's been thrown into a volcano, ran over by a few semi-trucks, and then lost in the ocean for 20 years before it was fished out and carried by a dog to its owner's house. Nevertheless, in spite of its terrible condition, it's still kicking. But that is the normal condition of one of these that you find. But this one right here is a really cool knife, and it's a good knife. If you're looking to get into EDC knives and you're wanting to carry a traditional knife, look for one of these. It's a great knife. Everybody, have a good day out there and keep your knives sharp.